Just by opening my mouth, you can tell I'm not from this part of the world. But in a way that I am, in a way to introduce myself, I'm an American, but I've lived in Barton now for the past 25 years and very happily with my wife Elaine. And in addition to that, so I'm representing us as a Barton resident. But in addition to that, I'm representing some 300 people that gathered in Barton for a meeting to discuss what has happened to the village. And we have other representatives here today. So I want you to know I'm not speaking just for myself or for Elaine and myself. But perhaps most importantly, I am representing my mother and father-in-law who have lived in the village for the last 30 years. And they are going to be personally, directly affected with this because the site selected is 25 meters from their front garden. In addition to that, they have another site that has been approved, which is less than a 10-minute walk, which is the Pullocks Hill Barton site. Now, the reason I'm giving you this background information is because I know this is a business for many of you, and that you're looking at it from a pure business point of view. But for me, it's a very personal issue. And so if I seem to be personal about it, it's because it is. But also, I'd like to have you know that it's very personal for the people that live in Barton, the 5,000 residents, because it appears that we're being treated in a very disrespectful, very unfair way, and in a very dishonest way. And that the procedures that have been followed in order to select the Barton site have been totally against anything that anybody could reasonably expect. When I say unfair, I'm talking about being treated unfairly. Now, let me ask you, Counsellor Young, you wrote, the key is that we are seeking a place for families to gather together. One enviable thing about Gypsy and Travelers is that they want families around them. Our plan is to place Central Bedfordshire Council in an area where we can direct Gypsy and Travelers sites to Barton. Now, that was in the a statement that you wrote in the Dunstable, in an interview in the Dunstable today. Now, you didn't say Barton, admittedly, but you did say specific sites, and this is what we're talking about here. You are unfairly selecting one area and putting a concentrated amount of Gypsies and Travelers. Interesting, Councilman Young, in your statement to the Dunstable today, you seem to explain every reason as to why Gypsies and Travelers had a right for that particular area. However, it seemed to parrot exactly the same information that Richard Bennett, the chairman of the Gypsy and Traveler Group, had. So what I would like to just ask simply is this. In selection of these sites, I noticed, and it might be just a coincidence, that none of the committee's sites were actually chosen, and that in most cases it was a 25-minute drive. Now, I know, Mr. Jameson, you're shaking your head. You live in Malden. You selected the Pullocks Hill site, but that's also Barton.
If you would sum up this.
Summing it up, what we're asking you to do is, for the reason, not just for us, but for you, because the people in Barton feel so strongly about this, and we feel that we have such a justified case that this will achieve national attention. And I'm speaking for you also because it's a reflection on your competence and the integrity to be objective in making these selections. Thank you very much.
I'm Richard Beecher, Faldo Road.